Wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where trouble melts like lemon drops, high above the chimney top. That's where you'll find me. Oh, somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly, and the dreams that you dare to, oh why can't I see trees of green and red roses too. I'll watch them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. But I see skies of blue and I see clouds of white, and the brightness of day, the darkness of night. I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
The colors of the rainbows, pretty in the sky, are also on the faces, people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you.
I hear babies cry and I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than we'll know, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Someday I wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where trouble melts like lemon drops, high above the chimney top. That's where you'll find me. Oh, somewhere over the way up high, and the dreams that you dare to, oh why can't I?
Hope, healing, and looking ahead. Hope is one of the most forward-facing emotions. Hope, a word forever enshrined as the national anthem of the Jewish people, Hatikva, a spiritual orientation that we're asked to summon, even when, perhaps especially when, things seem hopeless. To live with hope is a profound exercise in our humanity and specifically in our Jewishness. Living with hope in our hearts entails a kind of dual consciousness, where we're at once dwell in the world that is, and at the same time aspire to the world as it may yet be, the world as it should be. And this is the very definition of what it means to be a Jew throughout the ages. Yet we know hope is not an easy emotion to summon these days. The sheer quantity of brokenness in our world is overwhelming. We look away, we try not to dwell on it. For all of us in a very fraught time of our nation and world's history, and for those facing more personal despair, whatever the challenge we face, we do have a choice. We have a choice between being a prisoner of despair or a prisoner of hope. As Rabbi Jonathan Sachs taught, to be a Jew is to be an agent of hope in a world serially threatened by despair. Every ritual, every mitzvah, every syllable of the Jewish story, every element of Jewish law is a protest against escapism, resignation, or the blind acceptance of fate. As Shimon Peres often said, there are no hopeless situations, only hopeless people. In our loneliest, most disconnected moments, we sometimes forget that there are lifelines. JFCS provides lifelines to those most in need. Who are your lifelines? Even when we feel desperate and desolate, we belong to a thriving, living community, a community charged through acts of loving kindness to bring God's own hope to the often lonely and mystifying landscape of human existence. For hope is not passive. Hope is not standing on the sidelines. It's also not wishful thinking. Hope is the courage to work for a better world. Hope is the comprehension that there's always so much within our power. And hope leads to healing. Hope, too, is about not giving up. And not giving up in order to provide hope and healing is everything that JFCS stands for. So may we look ahead to the horizon and embrace the bonds of hope and healing. May we see the possible born from the impossible. May we look to each other for lifelines, support, and strength. And together, we will look ahead and go out into the world, into the community, and be agents of hope, agents of healing, active participants in creating a better world, a world as it should be. Keni Hiratson, may it be God's will. Amen.
Hello, friends, and welcome to our 2021 unLuncheon. I'm Larry Holzman, President of Jewish Family and Child Service, and I'm delighted to be here live with you today as your Master of Ceremonies. First of all, thank you to Cantor Baton and Michelle Treasure for that wonderful performance. I also want to thank Rabbi Rachel Joseph for her inspiring invocation. I want to thank our community partners, the Jewish Federation of Greater Portland and the Oregon Jewish Community Foundation, for their steadfast support. I also want to extend a special thanks to our primary sponsors, Carol Danish, the Holzman Foundation, the Harold and Arlene Schnitzer Fund of OJCF and Jordan Schnitzer, the Lois and Leonard Schnitzer Family Fund, and the Zidell Family Foundation. Our gratitude also goes to the Gloria Bacharach Family Fund, Rosalind Menashe, Martha Soltez, and the Eve Stern and Les Gutfriend Fund for their support. I'm so glad you could join us at this very unLuncheon-like hour, so we can celebrate the challenges we've overcome this last year and to look ahead to the future of JFCS. Today's theme of hope, healing, and looking ahead is a reflection of our communal state of mind at JFCS, and I thank you for joining us. My hope is that next year, and I think actually everybody hopes this, that we'll be together in each other's company once again in person. Maybe not eating the same things that you're having today, but hopefully something good. Anyway, today we're in spirit and we thank you. Because this is actually a fundraiser also, we have a few housekeeping notes that we have to take care of. On the screen, you will see we have many ways to support JFCS today. If you scroll down past this live stream, you'll see a donation area where you can give directly by credit card right on the website. You can also use our text to give option by using your mobile phone. Simply text JFCS PDX to the number 44321. Even though we can't see each other, we'd still love to hear from you. You'll notice on the right of the live stream, we have a live chat going. Feel free to say hello to us and to the rest of the audience, or share your thoughts on the presentation today. So settle in, break into your bag of goodies, and enjoy today's presentation.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Carol Danish, and I'm a longtime volunteer and donor for Jewish Family and Child Service. I have the privilege of introducing the 2021 Jewish Family and Child Service honoree. My admiration for Rini Holtzman goes back 60 years, as she was and continues to be inspiring to me. Her parents, Louis and Mary Rosenberg, were amazing people. They were models for their 3 girls and gave them Jewish values, which were passed as a priority of integrity, keeping our community strong and thriving, and the giving of tzedakah and time. Rini is a generous supporter and has helped shape the direction of our agency in countless ways. Most recently, she recognized the needs of the family program for support during the pandemic, She has also seen that psychological needs need to be prepared for our counselors for post-pandemic. Renee, I am honored to introduce you as the Jewish Family and Child Service honoree for 2021.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you so much. This is a lovely honor. And by the way, it's so nice to see you face to face.
Face to face.
Yes. It's a lovely honor, and I appreciate it very, very much. And the very kind words that you said.
Prior to COVID, about 1 in 5 folk were struggling in some way with something related to behavioral or mental health. During COVID, we've seen surveys suggest that up to 65% of people are experiencing some kind of struggle related to behavioral or mental health. Not really a surprise. And hopefully that number will go down, but the impact of going through that experience is long-lasting. We have a lot of clients who are accessing services for the first time. Because for the first time, maybe they're realizing how impactful counseling, behavioral health support can be. JFCS, as well as providing a range of different clinical services, we offer a range of ways to access them. And what I mean by that is you're not forced to go through your insurance company. We have sliding scale options. One thing we've seen a lot of during COVID is folks who are in between jobs, in between situations, maybe community members who are in between cities. And they can't go the traditional route. It's not available, it's not open to them. So what we do is we try to set things up to clear that path for them. In clearing that path, we are setting up an environment that fits for the client. We are client-centered, and we have, because of our support, we have the capacity to be more client-centered than other clinics or providers.
I like to think of a starting point as explaining both developmentally and what's age appropriate, using age appropriate language. What is going to happen? What does re-entry look like? And in explaining this to children, what's really important for younger children is to use concrete language. And it may be something like, after you've explained it in very simple terms that they understand, to ask them to draw a picture, because most kids love to draw. Draw a picture of, what do you think the new summer activity or program or camp is going to look like, or visiting relatives, whatever it is that's upcoming. That's always a great place to start. And for older children, I like to ask them to draw 2 columns. And the one column is, what do you think is going to be the same? And that's if they have a frame of reference. And the other is, and what do you think will be different? And by doing that, you're going to get a sense from your children of what's going on with them, what they are feeling, their thoughts, their worries, their anxieties. And you want to be careful not to overwhelm children. And when I say you, I mean caregivers and parents, not to overwhelm them with too much information, but to pause and to listen and be attentive to their questions and whatever it is that's on their mind. And I think the other thing that's really important is to listen in a certain way to children, which is not to correct or critique or interpret or give advice or to change a feeling, but it's to validate a feeling. And by validating a child's feeling, it sends the message that you understand and that you're not dismissing or minimizing what it is that they're sharing with you. And I kind of like to end when I talk to parents and caregivers by saying that I think of the message going something like this: I see you, I hear you, and I'm here for you.
Since the start of the pandemic, our main focus has been on meeting people's basic needs, so food, shelter, keeping their utilities on. We've served more than 230 people in the past year, and a large number of those were brand new clients, many people who had never sought financial assistance from any agency before. We have a strong commitment to serving the most marginalized and vulnerable people in our community. Looking ahead to post-pandemic life, we're surveying clients to understand how their needs have changed. We know that with kids at home more, the cost of internet and groceries have definitely gone up. These same families may have new debt and job instability coming out of the pandemic. By proactively reaching out to clients, we can create programming that best addresses the changing needs of the community. We're also growing our partner and referral base. We worked with the Jewish Federation of Greater Portland to assist families affected by the wildfires and the Islamic Social Services of Oregon to provide financial assistance to a broader range of community members. At JFCS, we also have a Friendly Callers program where volunteers are trained to provide socialization over the phone to clients. We have more than a dozen volunteers right now helping out many of our older adult clients who've been maybe dealing with mobility issues, impacted by increased isolation and loneliness. And our Friendly Callers have really been a lifeline to the outside world. JFCS is more than just a financial resource. We're somewhere the community can turn when they have questions about where to go to get a specific need met. JFCS is more than assistance for basic necessities. We are a guide and a path forward to independence and self-reliance. Families will often call us in the emergency aid department unsure of what their priorities are, feeling overwhelmed about the decisions they have to make. We talk through these concerns and guide them as to how to use the financial assistance in a way that will have the most positive impact for their family. We make the process as simple and straightforward as possible and really help reduce the stigma of asking for help. JFCS is a lifeline for the Jewish community and beyond when timely support is needed.
Hello, I'm Carolyn Weinstein, and I'm on the Jewish Family and Child Service Advisory Board. I'm here today to talk with Larry Holzman, the president of JFCS, and our honoree, Renee Holzman, his mother. I've known Renee since I was in high school, moved here when we were sophomores, so I'm honored today to be here and to interviewing the two of you. We are so fortunate to be in your beautiful backyard doing this together. And while it may seem a little unusual for a mother to be honored in the organization where her son is the head of the organization, it's so appropriate because of the commitment that Renee has made throughout the years to Jewish Family and Child Service. And it's so appropriate that door to door, here you are, Larry, helping in your own way too. Tell me about why you're involved in Jewish Family and Child Service.
Well, Carolyn, thank you for your kind remarks, first of all. I was raised in a family that believed in helping others and truly being our brother's keeper. And it was modeled from early childhood when I was just a little girl and would go to my grandparents' house where there was a tzedakah box on the wall. And they called it a pushka, actually, because they were remembering their relatives in Europe who had not come over and who were struggling. And as little as they had, they chose to share, always share with those who were less fortunate. So, and my parents, Mary and Lou Rosenberg, were very, very involved in the Jewish community. And that's what my sisters and I saw growing up. My mother-in-law, Lena Holzman, said, and I'll never forget it, she said, early on, she said, your children will not respond to what you say necessarily, but at what you do. And I think that's very true.
So, Larry, do you want to tell us a little bit about the philosophy, your philosophy of tzedakah, and how you got involved?
Sure. And thank you again for all that you do for JFCS, and we really appreciate it. Well, growing up, we were taught not necessarily tzedakah, but more that we have a responsibility to take care of others in our community. And as my mother said, and we saw that it's not a matter of what you say, it's a matter of what you do. And we learned that from an early age. And in 1990, my parents set up the Holzman Foundation as a means to give back to the community, but also to teach my generation as well as future generations not just the need to give, but really the joy that you get from it. And one of the things that they did that I think was especially important or powerful is that my brothers and I were each sort of allocated a certain amount of the funds that we could give each year. And so it was our job to come to our annual meetings with money to allocate to other charities. And what that did is it didn't just normalize giving, but it further reinforced the responsibility that we have to actually go out and look for needy causes. And and I'm so fortunate to be able to work with my mother. She sort of mentors me now, where I can see what she does. And she's not one of those people that just writes checks. She actually goes into the trenches. It's not just serving on boards, and she seems to be president of every board that she seems to get involved in. But she also, goes into a number of the organizations that she's interested in and volunteers her time. She's done counseling work. She's served meals at our house. And she's just, and very broad as far as her interests in philanthropy. And so I think, just sort of carrying on the tradition that they taught me, and I'm hoping to inspire others in my generation and younger generations, that, you need to step up and you need to take care of, those in our community, especially those who are less fortunate than us.
So, since the beginning of Jewish Family and Child Service in the late 1940s, Soviet Jewish migration and getting them settled into the Portland community was at the forefront of what JFCS was known about. But now we have a whole new set of challenges, and responding to those needs is so important. And what I'd like to hear from you is, how are you fulfilling those needs?
Well, we are really looking at the community needs and getting an assessment of what is out there. And especially during COVID, we are recognizing the mental health services are probably going to be the primary need in our community long after our society reopens.
Personally, you told me a statistic that absolutely blew me away.
So Oregon was 51st in the nation as far as access to mental health services. I've seen a couple other statistics that are more recent that we are, I think, 49th as far as accessibility for adults and 41st as far as accessibility for youth. So people are living and working remotely, and we recognize that there are a lot of challenges that are out there, and we're trying to get ahead of the curve to better prepare for those people. We have been in the process of seeking to hire additional counselors, and for a youth counselor, we have a youth counselor now who's doing primarily workshops, but we are working to partner with BB Camp for a youth and family counselor. We are also looking into expanding our other more general counseling services keeping in mind, that they are available to anybody in our community.
Those statistics are staggering.
Once the people are in place, we'll be able to help a lot of people who really are not getting services now.
Rini, you talk about the importance of giving to youth and what their needs are. Tell us about what you've done.
Obviously, the youth are our future, and I thought it was very important that our family was able to reestablish a youth counselor for Jewish Family and Child Service so that that part of our population would be served. Because these kids during this terrible pandemic have really been traumatized.
Oh, it's
and
terrible.
They need our help.
So the needs are great, and I'm so thrilled that JFCS is addressing those needs.
I think we've all heard the familiar saying, really need to give until it hurts. Well, I would disagree with that. I think that it shouldn't hurt to give, but it does give a great deal of joy, as Larry said. There's a wonderful feeling of helping somebody else, giving somebody else hope, giving somebody an opportunity to heal. And I think that it's given our whole family a great sense of comfort and peace to know that we've been a part of that.
So Larry, our theme for the unLuncheon this year is hope, healing, and looking ahead. What does that phrase mean to you?
Well, I think that the theme for this year is especially appropriate because our agency has really been changing over the last few years. Like I may have mentioned, we did a strategic plan. We're in the third year of a 3-year strategic plan. And in that plan, it was really to bring the C back into JFCS. And as we start to see the light at the end of the tunnel, as far as the end of the lockdowns and COVID, I think we really see the impact that it has had on our society, and especially children in general. JFCS has traditionally been, for older people, but we are definitely taking this opportunity to expand our resources and our services so that we can better serve and get ahead of some of the real challenges that we're having in our community.
It's so well said. Thank you.
I think it's impressive, and I'm very proud of my son and all of you who are so engaged in this wonderful, wonderful effort. So I love what Larry said. It is a joyful experience to give. It is a mitzvah, and I hope people will respond in a very generous way. Now it's your turn. Please look into your heart. Be kind, be generous, do the right thing, and support Jewish Family and Child Service in the work that they do to make this a very healthy Jewish community. Thank you.
Okay, everyone, that was pretty nice. Those people look familiar too. Anyway, now it's time for our mitzvah moment. And I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but this is a fundraiser, and JFCS is a nonprofit. And as a nonprofit, we pretty much rely on community support for everything that we do. All of the programs that we offer are subsidized by the community, and we are here for the community, so we need you to be here for us too. I hope that you've been inspired by what you've heard so far to give, and I hope that you will experience the joy that we feel when we do give. So this is, there are donation instructions on the screen and just below the live stream on this webpage. I hope you'll take a moment to support all of the hard work JFCS has done and will continue to do. These include caring for our Holocaust survivors, our disabled community, our children, and anyone who has experienced hardship in the past year. You heard me say in the interview with my mother that giving is a joy, a mitzvah, and I invite you to experience that joy right here, right now, at this moment for Jewish Family and Child Service. Donations currently are popping up, and you'll see who's giving and I guess how much, and we really appreciate that. And I want to thank all of our table captains again. I look forward to seeing you all at actual tables next year. And we also very much appreciate those who have already generously given to JFCS, including our sponsors, once again, who made today possible. You'll see those names come up again from time to time. So I'm going to hand the floor back over to Cantor Baton and Michelle for another performance. And hopefully they'll provide some more inspirational music during this mitzvah moment, and you can probably listen to them instead of listening to me. So I love seeing the familiar names that are popping up on the screen and the people who are giving. And once again, we really appreciate it and hope you take advantage of this time to help our community and to give back and to inspire others to give and to get involved. And not just by giving money, but you can also give your time. And we appreciate that. So contact us for volunteer opportunities. We really appreciate you. And we're here for you. And once again, we need you to be here for us. So take it away.
The next song that I'll be singing is one that I thought would be perfect for the theme of this evening. And it's a song called Listen to the Children. I wrote it many years ago in the 1990s with a composer named Gary William Friedman. Gary William Friedman is a New York composer, and he's written many things, and he won an Obie, an off-Broadway award for his musical, The Me Nobody Knows, and he used to write music for the Electric Company, the sister program of Sesame Street. And one of the songs he wrote there was, Spider-Man, Spider-Man, where are you coming from? Spider-Man, Spider-Man, nobody knows who you are. Or the way he used to say it was, nobody knows who you are. He was from New York. I don't know, if my New York accent may not be so great. And we met because we were working on a musical together in Montreal called The Apprenticeship of Judy Kravitz by Mordecai Richler. And he had this opportunity in New York to write a song, a theme song for a documentary on children in need. And I don't think that the production ever got picked up, but we worked on this theme song together. He asked me to write the lyrics, and he wrote the music. And the song is called Listen to the Children. And my first verse is, if you listen to the children, you can hear the dreams you've dreamed. They're still inside you somewhere. If you try, you'll get there. Close your eyes and hear the child within. I'll be joined by my wonderfully talented wife, Michelle Tredger. Listen to the children.
If you listen to the children, you can hear the dreams you've dreamed. They're still inside you somewhere. If you try, you'll get there. Close your eyes and hear the child within. If you listen to the children, you can hear the angels sing. A prayer heard in heaven to the earth is given. Free your mind and hear the child within.
When you're crying your tears, when you're feeling your fears, don't let your dreams fall apart. When you're empty inside, when you're lost in the night, open your soul and then open your heart. If you listen to the children, you can hear the angels sing. A prayer heard in heaven to the earth is given. Free your mind and hear the child, hear the child within.
Listen to the children.
Listen
Hey folks, I'm Elizabeth Steiner Hayward. I'm a state senator for almost 10 years now, and I'm a family physician on faculty at Oregon Health and Science University. People often ask me, Elizabeth, why did you step away from medicine to become a state legislator? And I tell them it's because I believe Oregon can be the healthiest state in the nation. Now, you'd think that being a physician would be the way that I'd help do that. And to some extent, you're right. But what I, as a family physician, understand is for Oregon to be the healthiest state in the nation, we have to make sure that people have all of the social determinants of health met. What does that mean? People need safe, affordable housing. They need good living wage jobs. Kids need a great education. And people need to understand that healthcare isn't just what happens in the doctor's office or in the hospital. And furthermore, healthcare isn't just about our physical health. It's not just about vaccinations, although I hope you're getting yours. It's about making sure that people have great mental health also. And that's particularly true at a time like this. We know that this pandemic has put an enormous strain on people's mental health. And that is so critical to people's well-being. Children who are depressed or anxious have trouble learning in school. Adults have trouble focusing at work, or they have trouble taking care of their chronic conditions and helping themselves stay healthier. I don't know about you, but if I'm down in the dumps, it's a little hard to motivate myself to eat good food, eat healthy food, or to exercise, to stay physically active. And this is why JFCS is so important to me as an organization, because JFCS understands that we have to look at people as whole people in their whole families, in their whole communities, and see how all of these pieces intersect. And furthermore, we have to ensure that everyone has access to high-quality, affordable mental health care. And in particular, the youngest Oregonians, our children, we have to do the best job we possibly can to make sure that children get full scope services, that children who are struggling get the help they need, the support they need to go back to living joyous, creative, enthusiastic lives where they're able to engage with their education, where they're able to stay physically active, where they're able to play with their friends, to experience the joy of reading, to participate with their families, and to look forward to the future. So much of our future as a state rides on the well-being of our children. And this is why I, as a family physician and as a state senator, understand the importance of moving services upstream and making sure that we take care of the youngest Oregonians in as holistic a method as possible. When I'm practicing as a physician and I have a patient or a family that's struggling, I know I can refer them to JFCS, and they're going to get that kind of holistic, well-rounded, person-centered, family-centered care that they deserve. Whether it's the need for emergency services because they're struggling to make a rent payment or struggling to keep nutritious food on the table, or whether it's helping them cope with a family tragedy, or helping kids who are making the adjustment back into school, JFCS has something for everyone that they serve. And they know how to make sure that people get connected with the right services, whether that's counseling to improve their mental health, or emergency services to make sure that their family stays stable in their home and has good food on the table. All of those things are critical to the well-being of Oregonians. I'm honored to be here today with you to support JFCS, and I'm grateful to each and every one of you for taking the time to spend with us today at this wonderful unLuncheon. I think that you, like I, will agree that JFCS does so much to ensure the well-being of every single person they serve, to tailor the services that they provide to that individual, to that family, whether it's just a little quick answer to a difficult question, or whether it's a much more prolonged period of counseling, of group work, of whatever it is that that person or family needs. JFCS is there for every single person, every single time that people reach out to them. But to do that, each and every one of us has to step up to the plate to support JFCS, to ensure that its critical mission for the well-being of our community continues. And that's why when Carolyn Weinstein reached out to me to ask if I would give this chemo, I jumped at the chance. Because as a physician, I've depended on JFCS as a place to refer patients for years. As a senator, I depend on organizations like JFCS to provide much needed services on behalf of the state for every single person, regardless of their ability to pay, regardless of their insurance type, regardless of their faith. JFCS is going to be there for everyone. And it's organizations like this that fulfill such a critical mission in our community. Every single day, each of us wakes up and we don't know what we're going to face. We just don't know. We could have a great day. The sun could be out. We could have beautiful Oregon sunshine. We could have a great day where our kid comes home from school with a terrific report card, where the person that we love does something nice for us. There could be any one of a number of things. A project gets done on time in a really good way. Or, God forbid, a tragedy could strike. You could get laid off. Your kid could break a bone. Your kid could come home from school saying that they're being bullied. Or any one of a number of things that can happen. And if your family or the family of someone you care about is facing a tragedy like that, we depend on organizations like JFCS to be there for them in those times of need. And when we are in the position of having one of those great days, and when we look back and think about the times that we ourselves needed a little bit of help, and either a good friend or an organization like JFCS was there for us, we knew that we could step up and we could find somebody. And now that we're having good days, and I hope you all are, I certainly am, when we're having good days, it's our job to step up for the other people down the road who might be having a tough time. I don't know what's going to face me tomorrow. I'm having a pretty good day today being here with you. But tomorrow, who knows? And if something happened, I'd want to know that JFCS was there for me, that I'd have resources like the ones that they provide, and that I could count on JFCS to help steer me in the right direction, to get the help I needed, to help my family heal if, God forbid, other people were hurt, right? Each and every one of us, as we live in this community, as we understand the meaning of community, knows that we cannot do this by ourselves. We depend not only on the people in our family, not only on our closest friends, not only on our congregation, but also on places like JFCS to provide the robust mental health services they need for seniors, for parents, for kids. Regardless of where you are in your life, regardless of life stage, JFCS understands how to provide the services that we need at any given point in time. And they're not cookie cutter. They're tailored for each and every one of us. We're pretty fortunate, you know? We're pretty fortunate to have a great organization like this that really reaches out into our communities, that lets people know proactively what's available to them, and is also there when people choose to reach out. No matter when, no matter what, no matter who, JFCS is going to be there. And as a family physician and as a state senator, I can't tell you how important that is for the well-being, for the true, robust health of every Oregonian. It's critically important that each and every one of us understand the role of an organization like JFCS in helping Oregonians be the healthiest state in the nation, helping every Oregonian reach his or her maximum potential by getting the services they need, when they need them, in exactly the right way for them. Thanks for joining us today, and thank you for supporting JFCS.
One of my favorite parts about disability services is our support group for parents and caregivers of both children and adults with disabilities. For our parents who have children with disabilities, everything is new for them. And so when they're in our group, they're coming with fear and loss and figuring out, what does this new world look for them with their child with a disability. And in this group, one of the most beautiful things that I've seen is the parents of adults with disabilities being able to talk through having similar feelings when they were in that same situation. They're also able to provide, hope for what it looks like as the child grows older and really empathize with those parents. Everyone on our team has firsthand experience and passion for working with people with disabilities. When people call in, people have the comfort of knowing that their JFCS staff has not only the training, but the lived experience, and that's what makes us unique. I'm working to support the whole organizational system. So it's the person who the family talks to when they call into the synagogue for the first time. It's the education director or the teacher who is having that one-on-one interaction with the child. And it's supporting the family so that they know what to advocate for when they go to a new synagogue or to a new educational setting. Now that we have robust online options, we can supplement our in-person programs as needed and really customize the service and how we connect with children, teens, adults, and their caregivers.
JFCS is the only agency that provides this set of services specifically to Holocaust survivors. Home care, case management, socialization, emergency aid. It's a common misconception that the need is shrinking, but that is not the case. The need in all areas is expanding, and in fact, we have 80 survivors still in the Portland community who need our help, especially with home care and with emergency services. When a survivor contacts us for services, they are set up with a case manager. So we have 3 bilingual Russian-English speaking case managers who are basically there to assist the survivors with whatever they may need, to connect them with services, connect them with home care, hot meal delivery. Throughout the pandemic, they've been doing at least weekly phone calls, if not more often, just to check up on people, make sure they're doing okay, provide a little bit of connection and socialization for people who are lonely and homebound. One example of an emergency aid request we were able to help out with this past year was a man, a 92-year-old survivor, Russian-speaking survivor, who was having a lot of dental pain, which is pretty common for the survivors. A lot of them have pretty extensive, dental issues and need for dentures because of their persecution experience. And so he was having a lot of dental pain. He wears dentures, but they were so old and worn out that they weren't fitting properly in his mouth, so he wasn't able to eat or drink without pain. And so he went to the denturist to see how much it would cost to get them replaced. And the quote was for well over $2,000, which for somebody living on SSI and food stamps and Medicaid, that was just way more than he could afford. So he reached out to the case manager who manages emergency aid for our program and requested help purchasing new dentures. And so we were able to cover that for him, and he was so grateful. He's able to eat and drink without pain now. And it was just wonderful to be able to help him with that. The survivors have seen so much in their lives, they've experienced so much pain and so much trauma, they shouldn't have to worry about being able to afford a medical necessity. And so that's why we are here to help them age with dignity and comfort.
Hello, I'm Rabbi Barry Cohen, Jewish Community Chaplain of the Greater Portland area, based at the Jewish Federation of Greater Portland. I'm so pleased to be part of this celebration today and to be here at the Oregon Holocaust Memorial, a sacred location proclaiming our people's strength and resilience. Today, I'd like to share a thank you letter from an 83-year-old Russian-speaking Holocaust survivor who received services from JFCS this past year. To Jewish Family and Child Service, Portland, I would like to thank you for all of the hard work and care you have given us. I cannot express my gratitude to you enough. Your compassion and dedication make you frontline workers. Over the last several months, you accomplished a new level of responsibility and performed very well as a team and delegated different tasks to all workers. When in the US, cases of COVID-19 continue to rise, you provided us with services and personal equipment we needed. I would like to send my appreciation to all of you. Thank you, Kim Van Koten, who was with us every day. New protocols and regulations facing from the government coordinated all members of your team. Thank you, Natasha Pilecki, who was in our last life an organizer of cultural and social events, interesting shows, exhibitions, and always provided transportation, wonderful volunteers who deserved a special appreciation. Right now, you, like all members of the team, were making everything to prevent the spread of the virus. I know that sometime we may not send our gratitude effectively as we might, but I would like personally to offer my thanks to Rita Shmulevsky and Alla Piatsky for their work and performances, such as delivery food, PPE, sanitizers to keep all members of the community safe and protected during this dangerous time. The food that you were distributed to us was restaurant quality. I would like to send a special appreciation to Alla Piatsky. Her kindness, devotion, daily control of our health and needs was amazing. When I told her about my problem, she promised to help. She addressed the problem with the members of Jewish Family and Child Service. You were all very constructive and quick to resolve. I received a portable air conditioner. What a lifesaver, and I was so grateful. I also want to send my praises to house workers. They kept us clean, safe, and healthy. As a member of Holocaust Survivors Services Program, thank you for the quality care, professionalism, everyday efforts to help us and to keep our community safe.
Okay, I'm back, and this is about it. I want to thank you, Rabbi Cohen, for that very touching reading. And thank you all for taking the time out on this Sunday to be part of our unLuncheon. But more than anything, I want to thank you for your support. Your generosity today will allow us to continue to help our community's most vulnerable citizens. And that's really what we're all about, helping those in need. Please watch for our newsletter for a recap of today's event, including where to find a recording, because I don't know about you, but I just can't wait to watch this again. I also want to express our gratitude to our amazing unLuncheon committee, our board of directors at JFCS and advisory council, JFCS staff, and our volunteers who have worked so hard to put this all together, as well as our other wonderful guests who contributed their time and talents to our program. Last but not least, I want to thank someone who is really special to me. I just love her. Our honoree, Renee Holzman. For all she has done for our community, we thank you. And I also really appreciate the fact that without her, my presence here wouldn't have been possible. So thank you again. Have a good evening and be generous in all things that you do. Good night.